Hello, it's Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to talk about the Sun through Virgo cycle for 2018. Some nice calming energies coming in as we shift out of that intense Leo cycle. Here are the start times for each part of this video. Thank you again for watching, and let's jump right in. All right, well, as usual, I have some charts for you, and I will try to minimize the paper shuffling sound. We are going into the mutable earth sign of Virgo. So here is your first chart. And the way that I did the charts this time is all your earth signs are in green, your fire are in the yellow, the light blue color are your air signs, and the dark blue are your water. So I want you to notice in this first chart, look at all of the earth. We are coming up to 2018's only grand earth trine, and as you can see with the sun in Virgo, so close to Uranus in Taurus and Saturn in Capricorn, we have all three of our earth signs represented. And you guys know that I like to look at the moon when the cycle starts, and this one we have the moon in Capricorn, another signifier. And as you know, Mars has traveled back into Capricorn, so look at all that earth energy: Pluto, Saturn, Mars, and the moon in Capricorn, and then planets accompanying them in the fellow earth signs. Big trend. Also, while it may look like only two planets are on water, look at the planets that are in water. We have Neptune, oceanic Neptune, and Jupiter, which expands everything. Next chart that I want to get to is a good example of the actual earth trine. It's the day of the earth trines, the grand earth trines we call them. So we are going to have the sun first connect with Taurus, and then we're going to have it connect with Saturn. So that forms a grand earth trine. I'm going to point out lots of yummy stuff when I do the second part of the video where I interpret, because this is some really, really great energy and so different than all the fiery fixed stuff that we had last month. So very next day, here's the next chart, is the full moon. Lots of energy here. You see the moon obviously opposite the sun. That's what a full moon is. It's in Pisces, but there's nothing in Gemini, nothing in Sagittarius, so we just don't have that mutable difficulty that we had a while back. This is more like a harmonic, where Pisces, as you guys know, can be a little too nebulous, not get into form. Virgo is all about bringing order. So if we can work with that polarity and find where to be flexible and enjoy things and not get too rigid on the Virgo side, this is a great energy to work with. Next chart, this one is very, very special. It is 10 planets in earth and water. In fact, the only thing that you see in this chart that is in fire and air are the nodes of the moon. So all of the actual planets that we watch, Mars is at that very late degree of Capricorn, getting ready to change signs, and Venus has just gotten into Scorpio, in fact, earlier that same day. But mark this day, September 9th, if you're a fan of new moon work, new moon intentions. This is Virgo with this incredibly supportive energy, and that energy will be happening on both sides of this moon, a few days before and then after. I'm going to show you that in part 2, but I just want you to note this moon. And the next one, the final one, you guys know I always like to show you where everything ends up. So when we get to the end of this cycle, we see Mars moving ahead full steam in Aquarius, and we have Mercury newly arrived into Libra. So that means those two air signs are active again. So we pull a little out away from that total receptive feminine earth water energy that's going to dominate most of the cycle. The other planetary movements are here. We've got Mercury moving around quite a bit, changing signs twice during this cycle. Mars, of course, leaves Capricorn and heads into Aquarius, and we have Venus changing signs during this cycle. So the personal planets are busy, and in terms of energy coming back online, because during that August Leo cycle, for a while there we had 6 planets retrograde after Uranus went retrograde. So of course right before the cycle started, Mercury went direct. So during this cycle, we have Mars going direct early in this cycle. Then we have Saturn going direct. And at the end of September, a little past this cycle, we annually have Pluto going direct. So a lot of forward movement, things coming back online now. I do have to preface this. Mercury leaves the shadow of its retrograde September 1st, but Venus enters the shadow of its retrograde on September 2nd. I'm going to do a whole thing on the Venus retrograde in next month's video, because it's more appropriate, because Libra is Venus, one of Venus's homes, but also this cycle is important to really focus on the Virgo and Earth energies that are happening. But I do need you to take note, because look at this, from September through December 17th, we are dealing with these Venus retrograde energies. So just kind of note that it doesn't officially start till October on the 5th, but we are going to go into that territory. So those are all the planetary changes. Now I'd like to do my interpretation of what some of that means. All right, well, those of you who've been watching my videos for a while know that when Uranus went into the Earth sign of Taurus, I was very happy. You can go back to that video. It's called Stable Ingenuity, Sun into Taurus 2018. And I predicted a lot of productivity, and I don't usually toot my own horn, but I'm going to. We have created 3.7 million new jobs here in the United States. Our unemployment is at the lowest record in recorded history among many groups. We are bringing back our economy. We have brought our GDP to 4.1%, which the critics and so-called experts said wasn't even possible. Google President Obama talking about that. He literally said that wasn't possible. The reason I'm bringing it up is not to get into politics, but when you talk about earth signs, you talk about productivity. You talk about raw material, you talk about money, you talk about resources, you talk about finances, and this grand earth trine is a lot to do with that. Of course, it's Pluto in Capricorn, and again, we're going to have Uranus go back into Aries for a little bit and then finally return to Taurus next March, and then be there for the next 6 years after that. So really strong cycles ahead, because this is also when Pluto hits strong degrees of Capricorn. Those things are going to coincide. And I feel like this cycle here, where we can bring it back down to the sun and what's going on in our lives, and not just bigger trends, but the reason that I kind of bring these things up, I know there was just a bill passed that dedicated a lot of money to technical education. And so you could be one of those people who all of a sudden get a grant or a scholarship to go into a program where you're going to learn a really practical trade. And again, Uranus is ruling that technology. So it does trickle down to ordinary people and them being able to improve their economic circumstances. Now, the things that are really happening this cycle that, of course, and I pointed this out earlier too, but I'll go back to it and reiterate, where I love this earth water thing is these form harmonious angles to each other. Here's a postcard of all the trines that are going to happen during this cycle, and here is a postcard next of all the sextiles that are going to happen. Let me bring up a chart for that beautiful glorious moon on September 9th. And I want you to look at the angle. So of course you can see the triangle. If you look at all the green planets, you see the triangle, and that are the, when I talk about the trines and show you that chart, you can see that flurry right before that full moon, 26th of August. Then we get some more right around this new moon. Now, where you see the dark blue, Neptune and Jupiter, you see that those form harmonious angles, with the exception of Jupiter opposing Uranus, but Uranus is so far back there. They're multiple degrees away, so there's not a lot of even tension in the opposition. But what you see, and you're going to have one of these, this is why I'm so excited this cycle. Let me slow down. We have, and I've been telling you about this for a while, Jupiter forming a sextile to Pluto, and this is happening under the Virgo Sun. That's huge. And again, I feel like these engines, and we're seeing, and the reason I did kind of mention the political angle is, of course, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, they're all in Capricorn, which is the sign of our institutions, our banking, our government. So Jupiter, again, there's that Pluto thing where Jupiter is in Scorpio and Pluto rules Scorpio. So there is a commonality. There's like a deeper resonance of those two connecting. And as you guys, I always tell you, when we're dealing with Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, these connections work over several weeks, if not months, because it's not just a quick like Mercury bumping into something, although Mercury, as you can see, is part of this. So we're going to be getting those thoughts, inspirations, ideas. And so we just have these harmonious angles happening. Jupiter and Neptune are working together. They're in their trine. But the way that each of those sextiles, so you see that the Sun and Mercury are going to sextile Jupiter as they go through Virgo. You see Jupiter continuing to sextile the planets in Capricorn. And of course, Pluto, that's just huge, but huge in a really positive growth, impactful way. And part of that dynamic, and sticking with this chart, but bringing this back up, I feel like Virgo wants to put things in order. Virgo loves organization. It loves detail. It is a very meticulous sign. And where it's opposite there in Neptune is a lot more flexible. And again, talking about either that full moon around the 26th or this new moon, you can integrate those two things and figure out how and where you want to be productive, where you want to put your energy, where you see your growth. And this is just an amazing cycle for that. And I feel like I want to remind you that Virgo is also about daily habits. It's about your health. It's about your routines. So if there's anything you want to change up there and have a plan, just know you're getting a lot of support. Saturn gives support and structure, and it's in Capricorn, this really, really powerful, intent, cardinal earth energy that just gives us drive. Think about like an Aries, but one dealing with earth energy and the material world. So this cycle, just big alignment between all three of our earth signs. So extremely productive, just another boost. All the alignments are about productivity, growth, and certainly we're seeing it. I reiterated that when the Sun went into Taurus and we talked about Uranus through Taurus. So I hope that you're getting on board. I hope that you're getting positive. I hope you're one of the people who's seeing pay increases. I hope that you, if you are somebody, again, Virgo, a lot to do with education. If you are somebody who wants to go back to school, this is a great time to do a lot of resources available. So use this time to think about what you might want to change and put into your daily habits and routines. And of course, any health issues or positive health changes, great time. Virgo is excellent for that. So I'm going to leave it there. So I'm Elizabeth at Elizabeth's Oracle. If you would like a personal reading, go ahead and contact me at my site to set that up. And I run this special called Free Minute Friday because I love Friday and everybody loves free. So when you order on a Friday, you get 5 free minutes with your order. I am still in touch with my friend Kristy all the time. We're still kind of like not really back to doing the radio thing right now, but there is a link to her book here in the description box and one to her site if you feel like working with someone who works with the angels. Kristy has a connection there and sort of channels that energy, and it's a wonderful energy to work with. I do the astrology and intuitive readings, and so if you'd like a copy of your chart and you order a reading, just let me know that you saw that on YouTube and I'll send a copy of your chart and then we can talk about it. But really, if you want to harness these incredible resources that are being supported by the cosmos, it's a great time to check in, see where all those things are hitting your chart and how to take advantage of it. But great cycle ahead, and I believe that we will look back probably when the sun goes into Capricorn and we'll see that we made another leap forward, another positive. We're just going to continue to see the growth. So, all right, you guys, I will see you when the sun heads into Libra. And thank you so much for watching. And we'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.